Gang, how's it going? Happy Thursday from me to you. Next topic is depression. Big one out there with the quarantine situation. I know people are battling through that even without the quarantine situation. So, this one's important to me. It's definitely an important topic. I by no means am going to belittle this topic, but at the same time, we're going to try to have some fun with it and be creative with some of the solutions, and then add a little flavor to it as well. So let's break it down. When we find ourselves in the emotional throes of depression, I'm sure we all find us asking ourselves the big question, and that is, how come it takes a plastic bag 110 years to break down, but it only takes me one minor inconvenience? Oh, easy. That's because depression is stressful. It's overwhelming. It's draining, and often it could be a real parasite. So, it's mental health. So they say there's probably not a picture out there, but I think I found the picture of it. So I'll show you that. Check this out. That's right. Here it is. Are you traveling to anywhere nice this summer? Me. There it is. Just plain crash landing in bed. I mean, for real, if quarantine had an icon picture for Facebook, I feel like this is what it would be. Like, I feel like this paints the picture of depression so clearly. This is why this one sticks out to me, because it's like, depression doesn't care what season it is, what time of day it is, or what place you're in. It's like, I ain't on the way. I'm in the way. I got your number, and I'm coming for you. That's what depression says. It's like, the depression train pulls up into the station. The conductor yells, "All aboard the Bipolar Express. Next stop, between my comforter and my bed. And let's go. We're off. We're rolling. We're having a good time." My dad says we're here for a good time, not a long time, and that's what it's about. What is depression? Depression, it's a common and serious medical illness that negatively affects how you feel, how you act, how you think. It causes feelings of sadness, sometimes persistent sadness that can last a long time. And then the big one is loss of interest in activities that are normally enjoyed. This can cause emotional and physical problems, and here's the biggie problem with it. This is what decreases a person's ability to function at work or at home. So daily living activities, that becomes obstructed based on how depression impacts them. And there's a number of causes for this. Biochemistry, genetics, personality, people with low self-esteem, and people who don't cope with stress well, they're highly susceptible to depression at a greater magnitude. And then environmental factors, right? Places, the season, time of year, seasonal affect disorders, like, and then people who you hang around with, right? Birds of a feather flock together. That's the expression. Les Brown says, if you run around with losers, you will end up a loser. So I found it pretty funny. Like, this is another one that comes into play. Check this one out. There's our boy, Sigmund Freud. He says, before you diagnose yourself with depression or low self-esteem, first make sure you are not, in fact, surrounded by assholes. First of all, I don't think he said this. I think somebody else said this, and then they put him as the, poster child for this quote that somebody else made up. But if he did say it, it was him, not me. I didn't say it. He said assholes. And the other thing I was thinking is, like, leave it to a psychoanalyst to blame somebody else for the problem that they have. No, all credit to him. He's cool. But for real, it's like social learning theory. We become our environment. We're molded by who we surround ourselves with and what we learn from observing others. Some of the symptoms of depression: feeling sad or having depressed mood, loss of interest or pleasure in activities once enjoyed. That's the part that, to me, sucks a lot. Changes in appetite. You may have lost some weight because you're not eating, or you may have gained some weight. That's all right. When you gain weight, just say, I heard people wanted to see more of me, so I backed on a couple of pounds. Trouble sleeping. sleeping too much, loss of energy, that difficulty getting out of bed, that increased fatigue, that's brutal. And then feeling worthless, feeling guilty, difficulty thinking, concentrating, or making decisions, and then in more serious situations, thoughts of death or suicide. And you never want to let things get to that breaking point. So it's very good to talk about. This is why I take this topic so serious. So I was thinking to myself, we're talking about depression. It's emotionally exhausting. How do I add more flair? How do I cause a stir and make the frizzle sizzle, baby? How do I finesse the depressed without getting somebody's goat? Well, I was thinking, alongside medication, CBT and talk therapy are actually some of the most common treatments for this disorder. And hand in hand with my theoretical orientation, my eclectic approach, every time I say something fancy now, I'm going to do Salt Bay. My eclectic approach, motivational interviewing, person-centered, existentialism, and CBT, that reframing piece, it fits like a glove with like ways for overcoming this. So here's a couple of my steps. A little bit rooted in research, a lot of it just perspective. So I think the first step in working through depression is developing an awareness and then respect for what it is. Truth be told, there's changes in brain chemistry, neurotransmitters, serotonin, like these levels are fluctuating. Researchers actually don't know now if lower serotonin levels contribute to depression or if depression lowers serotonin levels. It's like the whole chicken and the egg conundrum. It's like we don't even know that yet. But the point is, neurobiological evidence suggests that what you're experiencing is real. When I assess people or ask people about how depression impacts them, I go from a vocational implications perspective. And I'm asking them, like, how often do you experience ants, automatic negative thoughts? Do you have ants in your pants? How often do you experience loss of pleasure, loss in interest in doing things, fatigue, decreased mood? Are you struggling to get out of bed? And are you having those negative thoughts? Awareness, why? Because more than likely, things are not going to change overnight, and you have to be willing to accept that. We live in the age of instant gratification, the now appeal. I'm going to get more to that. But I think awareness is acceptance. It deflects denial, and it's the precursor to putting solutions into action, right? Solutions into action. Life is not about waiting for the storm to pass. It's about learning to dance in the rain. Ain't no such thing as sunshine without a little cloud coverage from time to time, right? The thing that you're going through, it has not come to stay. It has come to pass. And that's what you got to realize. That's the awareness piece that's so important. Step 2, I think small incremental steps, definitely backed by research, supported by motivational interviewing. I think people fall short when they set the bar super high for themselves. This is that expediency factor I was talking about. We want things to change immediately, right? I want to wake up tomorrow and feel better, maybe get a text message that says you've achieved your daily goal and you're no longer depressed. We live in the world of instant gratification. We want evidence that change has occurred right away. We've evolved towards the expediency factor. It's primitive in nature. Since the beginning of time, we evolved for going after the most accessible mate in mating, to go after easy, accessible, low-hanging fruit on trees. Anything we can do to get the quickest reward from the efforts we put forth. So small incremental steps would be marked by, instead of the expediency factor, but setting small, realistic, and measurable goals. These allow you to see change over time. These allow you to experience achievement, so you can applaud and reward yourself for small efforts. And these small efforts will eventually conglomerate to elicit big-time changes. I call this concept mini battles, right? No war has been won without first winning a bunch of the mini battles. So small, realistic, measurable goals. I think these allow yourself to see evidence of success and appreciate it, and then you got to give credit where credit is due. At the end of the day, it's like I'm talking about everything I did right and the efforts I put forth, not what I didn't do. And what you're going through, you're also growing through. Don't let this define you. Let it redefine you. 3, you got to incentivize yourself. This is the truth be told. This is like not the dagger to the heart, but it's like accepting the harsh reality. I think incentivizing yourself fosters accountability, character, and self-discipline, right? You cannot be casual about your health. If you are casual about your health, you'll end up a casualty. And when you're pushing that boulder uphill, right? That's what depression is. That's that long battle, pushing that boulder uphill. You got to do everything in your willpower to make healthy, hard, smart decisions, right? Like you know internally what's right. You got to eat healthy to sap cravings, work out when you're tired. If you talk to people when you don't want to, you got to wake up a shark. Sharks don't complain about Monday. No, they're up early every morning, swimming around, biting stuff, reminding everybody they're a freaking shark. This is hard, but you do it hard. The elevator doors to success are out of order, but the stairs are always open. And that's the truth. So you ask yourself, Malecki, you're on your soapbox. You're preaching to the choir. What do you do to get out of a funk? What do you do when you're experiencing depression? Easy. Cinched. I'm a runner. I mean, I run from my problems. I run my mouth, and I'm widely known for running late, apparently. There's this great article in Counseling Today that talks about bouncing back from antisocial personality disorder. And it basically says when you're coming out of that phase and you're practicing getting like socially involved again, it says it doesn't matter about like the goodness or like how good an effort is made to go talk to somebody. What matters is the grit and effort behind actually trying. I think that makes so much sense. We hesitate, we refrain from doing because we feel like we're going to mess up or something like that. We don't go to the gym when we're depressed because everything's too heavy. But there's alternatives. You can run, you can walk, you can do yoga. It's like just the effort of trying to get out of that is gonna make you better. It's gonna help you better yourself. 4, desensitize the fear, embrace optimism and hope. So important. Find that silver lining. Like Eric Thomas and a bunch of other people always say, it gets me jacked up. Pain is temporary. It may last an hour, a week, a year, but if I quit, however, it will last forever. I mean, that gives me goosebumps. I feel like every time I hear that, I feel like I should enlist in the Army or join the NFL Combine. It's sick. Keep going because you're getting stronger with every attempt and every effort made. Check this out. Posted by someone who's a yoga instructor at Lifetime Fitness. This woman spends more time on her hands than I can spend on my own 2 feet. I mean, she has achieved balance in the right way, where like balance for me is, I got balance right here, coffee in this hand, and whoop, whoop. Here's what she put out. I was laying flat on my back in the middle of a place called rock bottom, and through the tears I saw it, one small ray of light, and beyond the screams of why, I heard it, a faint whisper of hope. I will forever be searching for a reason to believe, because you see, falling down has always been my forte, but staying down will never be my style. I will rise over and over again. Powerful, powerful stuff. When you find that little ray, when you find that like speck of hope, you gotta let that glimmer of hope be a driving force. It's gotta possess every part of you. It's gotta get you singing in the shower in the morning, right? It's gotta put the wind in the sails. It's what she's talking about there, what this person's talking about there is psychological growth. Everything you're dealing with, everything you're battling through right now in this moment, you're going to understand how to combat these issues in the future if you experience it down the road, because you're developing techniques and mechanisms for overcoming. You know when something's impacting you and how it's impacting you. It's great. She's talking about psychological growth there. It's like Les Brown says, that which does not kill you will make you stronger. Practicality, yeah, you can beat this by journaling, breathing, coloring, exercise, and gratitude journals. I recommend that stuff. But like on a cider note, you gotta ask yourself questions, the big questions. Like, it's the squeaky wheel that gets the grease. And one thing we stress in counseling is the miracle question. It's like, if I were to wake up tomorrow and everything was gone, this was magically disappeared, the clouds are gone, there was a sun beaming down on me, what would I have done differently to know that it's gone? How would I have known this is gone? That's the miracle question. Scaling questions. 2 weeks from now, how will I know if things are 75% better? How will I know if things are 50% better? What will have been done in the meantime to know that I'm making effort towards these changes, or to know that things are getting better? Questions are good. Another principle expressed in counseling, but also stressed by like one of my favorite writers, Dale Carnegie. It's kind of sick, sounds corny, but I don't know, try it out. You got everything to gain and nothing to lose. Acting as if. This is like placing yourself in a situation that reflects change already having been made. So like you put yourself in the shoes of a scenario that would indicate otherwise. So like, it's like if I'm experiencing fatigue and emotional exhaustion, it's like next time I go out and do something, I'm going to be acting as if I have energy, acting as if I'm not tired. If I'm experiencing anxiety, I'm going to talk myself up, act as if I'm on top of the world, act as if I already know how to handle this situation. Another approach, I think acting as if is like, it's cool. Try it in any situation. It's sweet. Acting stronger in situations where you need strength. Acting happier when you're down with just the process of getting in that mindset of being already there triggers you to, be more inclined towards like being in that situation. Wow, that's terribly explained, but before it was better. Other step, doing something for somebody else. Positive psychology stresses one act of random kindness. Just see what that does for your mood. Holding the door for someone, prepping a meal for someone, anything like that. And then recognize when you're bored. It's actually a known fact that emotional fatigue is a bigger cause for depression and feeling tired. Emotional fatigue and boredom, bigger cause for feeling depressed and tired and drained than actually being physically tired or feeling run down or stressed out. So trying to spice things up, people all over are trying to add a little bit more flair to their job by competing with themselves to get a certain amount of tasks done. Recognizing when you're bored is actually huge. It sounds so simple. It's like that is a prime cause of feeling low mood. And then lastly, I'll leave you with this. Winston Churchill says, never, never, never quit. And yeah, that speaks volumes for me. I don't know about you. He also says that a good speech should be like a girl's skirt. Long enough to cover the topic, but short enough to keep them interested. So I'm going to leave you with that. We'll roll around for another one. Thanks for staying tuned. I appreciate it. We'll be in touch. Hope this helped.